Hello everyone, this is ACHAI Akaya, and we are in game number 4 of the show matchup between LiquidTLO and MaDFroG, who has recently committed to being a pro StarCraft 2 gamer, and these guys have just been absolutely providing some fantastic show matches. I'm not sure what number show match this is, but these guys have done a lot of show matches in the past few weeks since StarCraft 2 has been released, and the games have just been absolutely exciting to watch. But anyways, right now we are in game number 4 of this particular show match series, and TLO just won the last game, putting him up at 2-1 for the series, so he is currently in the lead. And he, of course, is playing as the purple Terran right now, going to be spawning at the right position here, the 3 o'clock position, and at the 12 o'clock position we have MaDFroG playing as the blue Zerg. And this map is going to be Scrap Station, which once again is a 1v1 map. This is built for only 2 players, and this is a map that was available in the beta, so I'm guessing pretty much everybody has seen this map at this point. You're familiar with it, and I gotta say I like this map for Zerg players. It seems very Zerg favored, or I shouldn't say very, but it definitely has some features that favor the Zerg races a little bit more. It's easy to defend that early expansion, especially if you can get creep down on this ramp, because your hatchery pretty much puts creep out right about at this first corner here, and then getting 1 or 2 creep tumors, actually just getting 1 creep tumor on the edge here, and then expanding it down at the bottom of the ramp will connect both bases, and just gives you great speed. You have an easy defense at this one entrance here, and then of course there's these destructible rocks, which if you can take these out on your opponent, it gives you a lot of avenues of attack. But anyways, it looks like MaDFroG actually going to be sending his Overlord over immediately. Getting that early scout out is super easy, because as you can see, the distance between these 2 bases by air is very, very short, and he is actually going for that early expansion. But rather than being silly and trying to take an expansion elsewhere on the map and hiding one somewhere, he is going to take one at his natural. He learned his lesson last game, because he tried to hide that expansion, and TLO was aware of exactly how much his opponent should have, because he just has such good game sense and knows so much about the game that he knew his Zerg opponent did not have enough for the given state of the game, and he actually found that early expansion despite the fact that he had no reason to think that it was there, other than the fact that he knew his Zerg opponent should have been further along, either in his tech or with an expansion at the natural. So great sense by TLO. I just cannot stress enough how well that worked out for him, just because he knew the timing of the game. He knew when his opponent should have an expansion or a tech upgrade or whatever, and he actually was able to counter that by finding that expansion and taking care of it before he could really lose any kind of advantage by his opponent having that expansion up and running for a significant amount of time. Anyways, it looks like TLO is going to put his factory up at the entrance once again, but something to note about this map with Scrap Station, the entrance to your main base is a little bit wider than some of the other maps. As you saw, he has been able to wall off with pretty much 1 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 supply depot in every matchup that he's played so far on these maps. But with this ramp being a little bit wider, that is not going to be enough. He may be putting down a 2nd barracks or a 2nd factory here to finish this wall off, but he is not going to be able to wall it off with just an additional supply depot in the middle. As you can see, there's a lot more space. But going back to MaDFroG's base, he does have his expansion up and running already, transferring a few drones over there, and it looks like right now he is just sticking with his spawning pool tech, trying to really drone up. And if we look at the income tab here, we can see both players are relatively even as far as mineral goes, though it looks like MaDFroG possibly taking a little bit of an advantage there, right around 80 to 100 advantage at some points. But it looks like TLO has a slight advantage on gas. Both players very, very even on the harvesters there, 21 of 21, although it looks like MaDFroG just put down a spine crawler at his natural, so of course his harvester count going down by 1. But this extra hatchery could really come into play as soon as he can get enough workers to saturate both expansions. And here comes the first push from TLO. TLO seems to love pushing out against the Zerg players in the really early game with just a handful of Marines and 1 or 2 of these Hellions. And, you can do a lot of harassment with these Hellions, especially if the Zerg player only has Zerglings at this point. But of course, Queens and Spine Crawlers are great for defending against those early Hellions. And it looks like TLO is going to try to juke and jive around in here, try to get some damage, but there is just too much defense here, too many Zerglings, 1 spine crawler at each base entrance, and there of course are Queens at each base as well, so plenty to defend against this first Terran offensive. But it looks like he is going to back up, and the Zerglings are going to be in pursuit, and since the Hellion is gone all the way back to the base already, all of those Marines are just going to get cut down so fast. Fortunately for TLO, he does have a lot of Hellions back at his base, so if he can micro these properly, he can hold hold on, and it looks like he is going to put down that that barracks at the front there to finish that wall off, and managing to hold off. Those Zerglings are not going to be able to bust down. You can see how weak a bunch of them are already just from taking a few hits from those Hellions right at the front there. And it looks like TLO actually going to go for a Hellion drop here, loading up 4 Hellions into his medevac, going to try to get back on the mineral line of MaDFroG here and do a little economic harassment. As you can see, MaDFroG has started to take the economic lead. He has a very significant advantage in the resources right now as far as minerals go, but he is still slightly behind on gas. He really needs to catch up on that, but he needs to be careful here because he can lose a lot of workers here in the blink of an eye if he's not careful. These Zerglings trying to come in and do some damage here, and it looks like he is going to be able to get all of those Hellions up into his medevac before he is able to even take down one of them, although there's one that is very, very low in HP right now, and trying to get that medevac over to another expansion possibly, it looks like, only dropping 2 of them, dropping the ones that are heavier in health, and actually getting the other 2 down as well, so only the Queen is going to be here to defend, moving the Spinecrawler into a more defensive position here as well, trying to buy some time with these Zerglings, and it looks like all those Hellions are once again going to be picked up, although another one is extremely low on HP, so we are seeing a very heavy micro battle between these 2 players right now. Really a game of position. MaDFroG trying to keep TLO from getting good position on his workers, and meanwhile TLO just trying to find a hole so he can punch some drones out and really do some damage, although he has not been able to do very much damage at all. I can't take a look at the kills right now, but I'm sure that all of these Hellions are very, very low in kills because that Harvester count did not dip hardly at all. I think he only got 1 or 2 kills with all of those Hellion drops. So very, very good defense by MaDFroG. Great vision on the map and really managing his units well in